Hi, Scorpio. Welcome to your mid-September to mid-October reading. So, the past 10 days or so, you've been idealizing everything. And I could have just smoothed over those days and said, for the first 10 days, you'll idealize everything. Excuse me. And it's not the way you think it is. And you would have undoubtedly said, damn, can't I live? Can't I just idealize people sometimes? Yes. Except that when you do that, you rob them and yourself of honest communication and the ability to solve problems. You wouldn't think that idealizing someone would, for example, make you feel isolated and alone. But of course you would, because the person that you are loving, well, they don't exist. You've made up an infallible version of them in your mind, which of course then means that you can't talk to them about anything because they have no flaws. Which means then that any changes that have to be made will have to be done on your end. Thus ensuring that you do all the legwork in the relationship. And how did it start? It started with you idealizing them. Seems totally innocuous, right? But when you offer way more value to something or someone than is there, when you go against your instincts and you actually give in to what could be considered an even deeper instinct, which is to overgive, what you end up doing is building the relationship on a series of untruths. How? Well, who is that person really? Underneath this mask that you've put on them of being perfect for you, who are they? And what happens to them and to you when that real them, not your perception of them, pokes through here and there? Because what it does for you is it makes you feel betrayed. Why are you not like the person that I made you up to be in my head? How dare you betray me? Now, excuse me. Now you're having these realizations. Whatever idealizing was going on has come to an abrupt end. And Venus moved into your sign. From now until about the 22nd, you have all the charm, all the luck, all the beauty, all the opportunities, all the attention, and the will to use it in a productive way. You don't feel like lashing out or acting out or making a point. You're very happy to bask in this energy of people recognizing your worth. You're happy to revel in how your internal life is reflecting in your external life. You are okay enough to want and appreciate contentment. Your emotional life may be a bit tumultuous, but your inner life and the commitments you've made to yourself are strong. And you've grown quite a bit To the point where you may actually be thinking, you know, I'm confident enough, attractive enough to play a little hard to get. You can pull back a little bit. That's cool. But we don't want to overdo it and seem manipulative. We want to essentially be honest, but just measured. The reality is you have a lot to give, and your love is like a bottomless pit. But they don't need to see that right away. You also don't want them to feel like you're not interested at all. So you have to find a happy medium here. Just know that as your confidence level rises, you have a tendency to become a bit haughty and make simple mistakes that end up costing too much. So we don't want to appear full of ourselves. We just want to take a few steps back. Perhaps they were idealizing you as you were idealizing everybody else. That's not the case, but perhaps. You just step back. You step back, you focus on work, you focus on cooperating with your colleagues or business partners, you focus on being creative. You focus on cleaning out your creative space, whatever that may be, so you can fill it with this high priestess vibe. So you can create again. This particular Phoenix moment that you're having is very personal. And it takes you back to what you have been taught since childhood is stability and happiness. I think for a lot of you, you're beginning to believe that you are worthy of and lucky enough to have something close to what you believed growing up. Something that for a few years in between here may have seemed like a fantasy. And for those of you who aren't involved with anyone, it's just such a relief to feel that hope, that belief in romantic love start to make its way back into your life. You're beginning to believe again. If you're in a couple, that may mean that you want to take a few days away for yourself. If you are single, that may mean that, actually go to that party that your friend's been trying to talk you into going to for weeks. There is an element here from the past that is very secret, something you think about quite often. Don't discount the fact that you will surprise yourself as this whole idea of idealizing our partners becomes more real to you, as you begin to see through the different veils that you have put over your eyes. Your view of the past will change as well. You'll see and be able to measure your own growth, and you'll know how close you are now to being truly content with or without anybody. Sometimes, I think it's in The Office, where Michael says, I wish there was a way to know you're in the good old days while they're still happening. You are at a very high point in your life. And it's not because of who you're with or what you have. It's because you've done the work and you put yourself first and you made all the sacrifices. We talk about that a lot. But now it's time to reap the rewards, and one of the rewards that you may not be very comfortable with is acknowledging the fact that it is a high point. Acknowledging that you have worked like crazy to get here. Even if all that high point is a sense of calm after years of tumult and insecurity and rage. To know what you are and who you are, it's a really big deal. And it makes everything else manageable. So it's like your external life, all of it really, gets put on the back burner. Things are there and you deal with them and it's fine. But the High Priestess is about nothing disrupting your peace. To get so far back behind the world that it doesn't affect you anymore. And I think you found your way there. And it's interesting to see how then Venus will spice this up for you. Because it's very likely now that those things that you keep locked in your heart, that you really, really want, that you could never bring yourself to say, Venus hears them. So be prepared for some surprises. Oh my God, I love you. Hi Scorpio. Welcome to your reading, your mid-September to mid-October reading. Oh, I'm so sorry, it's late. Oh, every time I have to tell you something, and I hope the other signs aren't watching this far along. But I feel the most guilty when your videos are late. Oh, I hate it. But I was just going through so much. I needed a minute, you know? And thank you. Thank you for being so loving about it. Usually you guys can be the meanest. But honestly, I haven't gotten like one aggressive comment from a Scorpio. I think, although you can be the meanest sometimes, your capacity for empathy and being able to sense the hidden pain is so acute. You are so good at it that you just collectively knew, like, no, give her a second. And you did, and I'm forever grateful, and I love you, and here we are. So let's go, go, go. 8 of Swords. Please don't idealize anybody because I know you want to, but it's much better to view them as a human and have open and real dialogue with them. It's not as exciting as the fantasy that you would like to create around them, but it is a lot more long-lasting. Now that we have that out of the way, that Knight of Cups surrounded by misery, 8 of Swords, 3 of Swords, even the 5 of Swords there. It's you coming out of a time where, well, I think it was hard. I think you're coming out of a really hard time and Venus moved into Scorpio and you just feel better. I mean, you've been feeling better, but the hard times were continuing around you. But now you genuinely feel better. Someone came into your life, either in a professional or romantic or friendship way, and you were able to parlay that into getting back to who you are. And
even retreating a little bit, I think, from what was troubling you the past, let's say, for some of you, 8 months, for some of you, 5 months. You've reached that high priestess point now. Venus has moved into Scorpio, right? You have Mars in Libra. You're beginning now to feel that sublime consistency that you love so much, where things are grounded. You know, the fixed aspect of you loves when something becomes a sure thing. There's so many signs who, even though it would be really good for them to love the sure thing, they're averse to it. Actually, they need that uncertainty, even though they may bemoan their fate and say they hate it, but they lose interest when something becomes a sure thing. You're very different that way. You love the security and stability of knowing that something is real and being able to lean into it. Now, the high priestess is not leaning into anything. It's actually pulling back. What you're pulling back from is all the things that have been happening around you that keep you from trusting people, liking people, opening up to people. You're pulling away from the drama in your life and allowing this really palpable sense of stability into your life, whether it's in the form of a person, a new job, a new friend, a new outlook. Regardless of how you get there and how windy the road is, there you are, 9 of Cups. You are confident, you're attractive, you're back. You're you. Mars moved into Libra a few days ago, and it just made everything that much better. Now, you don't want to, because you're feeling so great right now, you don't want to be presumptuous. Okay, you don't want to take it a little too far. You want to leave a little room. Okay, the high priestess says that too. Leave a little room. Give people a little air. In the I Ching, it says that if you want to attract a lover, you must create space between you and that person so they have the opportunity to make up their own mind and use their own sense of agency to come to you. Okay? You cannot, it is, how do they put it in the I Ching? It is immodest, okay? It is unattractive to run towards something that you want. You want to create a little void space between you and what you want so it can come to you. This requires patience and confidence, and you have both. Mars and Libra can rob you a little bit of your patience, so keep an eye on that. Pull back a little bit. If you are in a couple, go spend some time by yourself, because this drama is swirling. Get yourself out of that situation. Get you and the person you're into out of that situation so you can go and be on your own and be happy and bond and just secure the connection that you have with each other. On the other hand, those of you who would like to create this connection with someone who you have no intention of being with long term, who you just want to, let's say, fulfill your urges with, it's a mistake. It's a mistake. That secret desire, acting on it right now, is a mistake. But in a few weeks, the timing will be perfect. So don't mess with this high point that you're at right now by doing something that you can't tell people about, especially if it's something romantic. Leave it alone. Leave it alone and enjoy the fact that you are vibing so high, that you are winning. Everybody knows it. You are beautiful. You have this energy right now that Venus brings you, where everyone is looking to you. You are the paragon of beauty. You are the one who is the most attractive. You are the one who is the most charming. Enjoy it. Revel in it. And then on the 22nd, we get back to work. On the 22nd is when you start to clean stuff up, even especially money-wise. Especially money-wise. You have got to pay attention to the details when it comes to your money. You've got to slow down and really look at your spending. And this is not me saying that you're overspending, because I don't think that's what it is. I think this is just a case of you looking through your expenses and realizing that you're either double paying something, overpaying for something. There are probably expenses on there that you don't even recognize. This is like a slow drip. It's not very noticeable, but it's there, and it keeps taking and taking and taking. Some of you know that this person, that this thing, this slow drip is actually a person. Get them out of your life. You are not running a charity. No matter how soft your heart is, no matter how much they need you, if someone continues to take and take and take from you and does not do for themselves, that is called, quite simply, financial abuse. Okay? Be very honest with yourself about that. Be clear. Now, if there are people that you owe money to and that you would like to give money to, or you're feeling like you want to give money to charity, also the perfect time to do that. Pay all that stuff off. And then once you're done, as September ends and October begins, go into hermit mode. It's time to pull back and recharge, because as this Mercury retrograde begins on the 27th, you have so many emotions coming up, especially stuff from your childhood, stuff that in the long run has made you very strong. But it's also been quite difficult. But there is an opportunity here. These emotions come up, you keep to yourself a little bit, excluding whomever you are interested in or in love with. I mean, everybody else. You create a little distance, you let these emotions come up, you acknowledge them, you feel the feelings, you allow yourself that understanding, this is why I'm aggressive about this or that, this is what's been holding me back, this is what's been making me angry, and you let it go. And you let it go because you know that you don't need to hold on to it anymore. There's something very cathartic about this Mercury retrograde coming up. You may already feel it because we're in the shadow. Something very cathartic here for you. Some deep, hard emotions, that have gotten stuck. Mercury retrograde is going to unstick them. And you have to be prepared for that, because it is going to cause some tower moments. Those tower moments come with the realization that you are made up of all the experiences that you've had and the emotions that you carry. You're going to have those moments where you really want to lose it, because these emotions are coming up and it's very hard to control. The feelings, the up and down of it, the sorrow of it, the pain of it, whatever is in there, whatever you've been holding in for, 6 months, it's going to come up. And it's good that it comes up now before your season. It's perfect. Because once it's out, once you've experienced it or felt your way through it again, or forgiven again, or purged again, or whatever you have to do, you will feel better. You will feel clear, and new opportunities start to come in. The abundance comes back. Not that it was gone, but it comes back like a wave, like a gigantic wave. Because all of this Venus and Scorpio work that's happening energetically for you, it's adding up to huge opportunities coming up, inshallah, in the next 6 months. You'll see a sharp rise in popularity, in income, in your self-esteem, everything. So don't begrudge yourself this little bit of emotional time between the 27th and the 18th. Let it happen. You just tell yourself that Libra season for you is just going to be one of those things where you prep in the dark, in your cave, in the dark, and then we have it just like you like to do. Then you can have your glorious unveiling as your season begins. But get all this gunk out first. It's really important. I know we talk about this a lot, but it is important every few months to do this. And obviously the planets work with us because they know that we need this emotional cleansing. So here we are. Here's your emotional cleanse. And it's a deep one. It's a deep clean. And it's great because As counterintuitive as it may sound, you're in such a great place. So you can deal with this pain, you can deal with these memories, you can deal with this trauma with so much more power than you could have, so much more strength than you could have before you hit this high spot. Okay, so we don't want to start thinking, oh, we're doing really well right now. In 2 weeks, you're thinking, but I was doing really well. What happened? You're still doing really well. You're still doing really well. It's just time to process whatever you've been putting away and not addressing in the past 6 months, and then you're back on your high horse. You're back on top. And for the time that you're not, you hide, you disappear. You do what you like to do, which is handle your stuff in private. But everything is lining up for you. So don't get lost in the Mercury retrograde fog and think that things are going badly. They're not. They're not. Everything you let go of, everything you process, every moment of catharsis that you have during this Mercury retrograde will add to the opportunities presented to you afterwards, will add to your character. And even though it will be painful, it will raise your self-esteem even more. Because think about it. What you're doing is you're priming yourself. You're desensitizing yourself to these rushes of emotion, to the past coming up, to the wounds that need cleaning and healing, speaking up for themselves. You're not becoming immune to it, but you're getting the hang of it. It's very easy to deal with hard things when we feel capable. Feeling capable, meaning high self-esteem. It's much easier than feeling super low and then having to deal with a bunch of stuff. So we want to keep our good feeling. We want to retain this, I'm on top vibe. And as all these emotions and memories and pain and trauma start to hit us, we approach it and we deal with it from that high place. That's it. That's what you're doing. A deep clean from a high place. And you're so lucky because to do this before your season, it's like you're getting the death out of the way so the rebirth can be super glorious, but you're not waiting until your season to experience the emotional death. You're getting it out of the way now. It's really smart. And it will make for a glorious Scorpio season, as I'm sure you know. I love you. All the links are below, including the Vimeo, the Patreon, the rings, personal readings, and the website. I'll see you in the extended right now.